Hello and welcome to Husky Talk. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I would like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. Procyon Partners, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in wealth management, employee benefits, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz is a proud supporter of Husky Talk. And when I make my first million, he's going to get me a Tesla. I would also like to thank Pete Finch and the Pete Finch Law Firm. If you've been arrested, if you've suffered a personal injury, if you've had a dog bite, if you feel your rights have been violated in any way, the Finch firm is there for you. Based out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, Pete Finch has won legal battles all over the state. So, in a pinch, call Finch. And then finally, Bleeding Blue for Good. Mike Burton is a big part of the reason that the UConn Huskies football team has won 7 games this year. He got involved with Bleeding Blue and took charge, and he raised money, but he did it with 10 people. The transfer portal opens very soon, and we just need more people to donate. And if we do that, we will have a great chance at continued success. So go there, donate, even if it's $200, $500, whatever you can give, because this is the first year television contract money can be used. We don't have any. So we have to make up with it, unfortunately, in NIL money. And Mike needs our help. So let's stand up and be there for him. And now for the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, one of my favorite running backs of all time, Jordan Todman, now coaching at Limestone College?
Yes, sir. Limestone University.
Limestone University. Yes, Limestone University. I'm so excited to hear that you got into coaching, because that's the exact route I went, and as you can see, it's the route to success. So you're on the right path. You're on the right journey. That's just awesome, because I used to love watching you and Dre. Man, you and Dre just used to shred people, and it was always a pleasure. And I know you were on the 2010 Fiesta Bowl team as well. It must have been just an amazing experience, which we'll get to. But I've appreciated your support for the show and following the show when you can. And I know how busy it is when you're coaching, so I appreciate you taking the time. Now, do you play Saturday? Did you?
So unfortunately, we do not play this Saturday. This is my 3rd season here at Limestone, and we finished the season out 8-3, and we were still unable to make it to the playoffs for the first time that I've been here. So definitely not the way we wanted to go out, but as you know, in this game of football,
improving.
We're improving day by day. We're getting better.
Yeah, and you got a great staff too, which you were telling me about. That's awesome. That's
amazing
awesome. And you love it, which is good. You're
Absolutely.
a football guy. You're a football junkie. You love it.
Absolutely.
So I never knew this. Where exactly did you grow up? Where are you from initially?
Okay, so I was born in Philly, but I grew up in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Dartmouth High School is where I went. So I'm an hour and a half. Pretty much from my house was an hour and a half UConn campus. So I decided to stay close to home. Big family guy, but that's where I was kind of raised.
I say that just because I coached at Holy Cross.
Okay.
And we recruited that area, so I know of it well.
Yep. Good food, good people.
Well, what's funny is my coach at Holy Cross despised Massachusetts football.
Really?
He thought it was the worst football in the universe.
Yeah.
We would recruit nationally, which I thought was like our recruiting budget was outrageous, because he wanted to recruit nationally.
Yeah.
We would not take anyone out of Massachusetts. We would take maybe 1 or 2 players, and it always frustrated me, because there was some good talent in Mass that we let go to other schools that we could have had a chance at if we just went after him. And he just hated Massachusetts football. He hated it. We had a kid from Duxbury.
Yep.
Griff did not want to take him. We took him. He ended up being a 3-year starter on the offensive line.
Yeah.
There was a receiver from Beverly, despised him, did not want to take him. We took him. He ended up being the all-time leading receiver at Holy Cross. So it's good to know. I mean, UConn was smart in taking you. Did you start playing ball at an early age? Were you playing as a youth?
Yes, sir. So I started at 8 years old playing Pop Warner for New Bedford Bears, and I instantly fell in love with it. As crazy as you would think, is my first year, my number was 56. So I know, right? So I'm playing running back and middle linebacker, but the 56 came because I was hitting people like I was Lawrence Taylor. So
you were LT. Yeah.
Like I was LT, but then eventually I got out of that big number and I worked my way down. But yeah, I started at a young age.
And that's full. That was full pads, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Tackle. I got plenty of pictures and photos. The shoulder pads this big coming up to my ears.
Yeah, the big ones.
But, it was a blessing. My first love, football.
It was funny because back then they liked you to wear the bigger pads.
Yeah,
the bigger you could look, the better. Now they barely wear anything.
They want you
to wear the smallest stuff. That's crazy. Was your family like a football family? Were they like the ones that pushed you into it, or did you want to do it?
No, actually, it was me. I pushed myself into it. So before I got into tackle football, Pop Warner football, I'd play outside, just tackle football, whether it was at the school, boys and girls club. And this one day, believe it or not, I was riding a bike, and I seen all types of people at a field near my grandmother's house. I was curious. So I'm like, what's going on over there?
What are they doing? Yeah,
right. So I ride a bike over there. At the time, it happened to be a girl's bike, but that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah,
so I ride my bike over there, and then instantly I see they're playing football. So I'm like, hey, I want to play. And they're like, oh, well, you need a registration. You need to get signed up. So I take this piece of paper, I fold it up, I put it in my pocket, and I ride the bike down to my grandmother's house. At the time, my mom was working, and rest in peace, my great grandmother. I said, Grandma, you got to sign this. I got to play football, right? And she's like, well, you got to wait for your mom. And then pretty much from there, that's where it all started.
That's amazing that you so vividly remember the story. Yes. Riding your bike and seeing it and then signing up and doing it.
Yep.
That's crazy. And so you were playing both ways. You were playing linebacker, you were playing running back.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you're a gifted athlete. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yep.
Through those years, did you pretty much stay as a running back linebacker? Did you play both ways?
No, I played both ways because we're young, right? Nobody at those levels. So I played both ways, stood at running back, stood at linebacker. I can run sideline to sideline. I was aggressive. I could tackle, right? So it was right up my alley. It was perfect for me.
And you loved it. You loved playing both ways.
Absolutely. I wouldn't change it for the day. Like I didn't play one way until I got to college.
I know.
Was the only time I only played running back. Yeah.
That was the same thing with me. I was like shocked, like I only have to play one way. And then I thought it was going to be easy. And then I realized quickly that no, it's not easy at all. It's 10 times harder. And you're playing against the best of the best. So did you go right into junior high football, 7th and 8th grade?
So in my city, I played middle school football, but at the time there's no tackle football. So it was just flag football, right? So just a fun fact, I think I was one of the first guys at my school history to have a kick return back in touch football. So it's not even flag. It was just touch football. And they didn't put a hand on me on a kick return. So long story short, I played middle school football. And then from middle school, I went straight to high school. But for me, it was pretty much, I played New Bedford Bears, Pop Warner. My last year, I was probably 13 years old. And then the next year, I was playing freshman and then varsity pretty much at the end of the year. So
that's so strange that they would not play tackle football in 7th and 8th grade. They would make you play flag or touch. That's crazy. So you go right to varsity, 9th grade?
So 9th grade, yep. So I finished out my ninth grade, 14, I finished out my freshman year. And at the end of the year, we played a big Thanksgiving game, as you know, being a New England guy, right? So they bring me up the Thanksgiving game, my first varsity game. I rushed for over like 215 yards, 14 years old. But it was a blessing.
You still got a little of that Massachusetts accent in you. I like it.
A little bit. Ba, bear, ka, just those words, select words. They'll come out.
It only comes out selectively. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I remember those Thanksgiving Day games were huge. I mean, they were the rivalry games. Didn't matter what the records were.
It didn't matter.
It was intense. I used to love it. And then I remember because we recruited at the Super Bowl at Gillette Stadium, which I couldn't believe they played all the levels there. Did you guys ever make it there?
Yes, we did. So my senior year, state championship. So mind you, Dartmouth High School, if you're familiar, it's not a huge school, not inner city by any means.
No.
Necessary. So anyways, we were in D1, so we're playing at the best level there at Dartmouth High. So we'd have to go on and we'd beat Brockton, right? Play Brockton and beat those guys. And we'd go on to play against Everett at Gillette Stadium. And unfortunately, yes, we lost in double overtime. And it was freezing out there that game. But I had a good game. Unfortunately, we fell short, but we did make it to the state championship.
I know the coach at Everett because when I was at Dartmouth, we recruited his son. And he played quarterback for us. So Everett was a powerhouse for a while, I believe, right?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
So recruiting was a little bit different when you were coming out. Did you know that you wanted to play college ball as a freshman or sophomore, or did it hit you kind of later on?
Let's say before that. So I knew I wanted to play college ball, but from 8 years old, I knew I wanted to play in the NFL, right? So when I first started, this is my dream. And I understood the steps and the levels you had to get to make it that far. So I definitely knew I wanted to play Division I football. It was just a matter of time of where would that be and when would the offers come through, and it all worked itself out.
Well, and it's tough because being a running back, unfortunately, now it's the value of the position has gone down, and they do running back by committee, and it just drives me nuts because I personally, I mean, I'm an offensive line guy, but I think running back is the most important position on the offense. If you can't run the rock, you don't have a chance.
No, I feel like, the run game and your pass game just has to be balanced, right? If you want play action, you want to be able to do that. If you don't want them to load the box or, drop back, you got to be able to do that. Anytime they force your quarterback to simply drop back and, 5-step type drops, they'll bring pressure and vice versa. And they know the ball's going in the air, so. And as you know, I don't mean to go back, but as we were talking about the recruiting aspect, as you can see, you were just at Holy Cross and your coach didn't love Massachusetts guys. So
I know.
So being a Massachusetts guy and not having the huddle, right, and the Twitter and, that access to all the other coaches made the recruiting battle just a little tougher.
Oh, my God. If I could go back to 2007, I'd probably shoot myself knowing that you went to New Bedford, just so you know.
Right. I'm right down the street.
Blows my mind. That blows my mind. So did you start going to the one-day recruiting camps? Okay, so you did the camp circuit. Did you start it after your sophomore going into your junior year, or more so your junior going into your senior?
I would say sophomore. I probably started from the beginning, right? My freshman year, I was doing things, but I actually went to a camp at Holy Cross, believe it or not. So I actually did go to a camp there. You guys had
indoor camp
in the indoor turf. I remember you guys had us running, lifted. I was very young, right? I think the bench press at the time was low, maybe 135 or 185. You guys would have it there.
That's all we had it set at. Yeah.
Yep. So I do remember going there. So that's probably one of my first camps I went to. But my guardian, who was my Pop Warner coach, he did a great job with my recruiting journey, whether it was sending out film. Then we actually went on, I was getting tons of letters, but then we actually did like a circuit where I'd go to Maryland, I'd go to Penn State, I'd go to UVA, I'd go to Syracuse, Boston College. I would visit all these schools, go to junior day, and just try to get my name out there.
That's great. That's great that you had someone to do that for you.
Absolutely.
Because I know, like, a lot of the times the high school coaches either get overwhelmed or they just don't know the game, how it's played. So you got to do that. So you were going to camps, you were going to junior days, you went all over the country. What were your best statistical years in high school, would you say?
I rushed for over 2,000 yards 2 years in a row. And my junior year, my senior year. So those are stats that stick out. I'm sure I had plenty of touchdowns, but that's probably the stats that, to me, obviously has been some time that I remember. Was rushing for 2,000 yards 2 years in a row, knowing that my coach would take me out early at times because we weren't really the run the score up kind of guys, but made the best of my opportunities.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Twice you rushed for 2,000 yards. So obviously you got to be the all-time rusher in that school.
Yes.
There. That's amazing. That is so amazing. So you're getting recruited and you're going to these camps. What would you say were your top 5 choices if you had to base it off of your experiences?
So my first scholarship offer actually came from Purdue. I had a full scholarship to Purdue in West Lafayette, Indiana. So Purdue was up there, UConn was there, Boston College, Syracuse, Amherst. Like later, they were in there, but not particularly a number one pick. But some of those schools also wanted me to play DB.
You could have played anything.
But I'd much rather run with the rock. You chase me, I'm not chasing you, right? So
I'd much rather you run the rock too. I'm fully on board with that.
But those are my top 5 schools that kind of come back to mind, stick out. Yeah.
Were you, because I know back in that time period, were you offered early, like as a junior going into your senior year?
I was offered, I would say, late junior year going into my senior year. Yep.
Yeah, that's about right. That's awesome. Did you start taking like your official visits in the fall of your senior year, or did you wait until after? Because I know you played, so you won the state championship. So
we played later, and then I took my official visits. I'd go visit the schools and go on campus, hang out with the guys, get a kind of a feel for it before I made my decision. So I started around that too.
Did you take all 5 of them?
I did not. So I went to Purdue for sure. I went to Boston College. I went to UConn, and being right there near home, and I think I found my perfect place.
Listen, if you want to be a successful running back and obviously have a great career and have a place where you're going to be featured and given the ball, UConn used to be running back you, and I think we're getting back to that now. So I definitely think you made the right decision by going there. Did you like BC? Because I know every kid from Mass wants to go to BC.
Yeah. So I did like BC, but at times, believe it or not, they wanted me to play corner, and I think they took a running back from Everett, and I'm not sure he actually played it down at Boston College. But control what you can control is my mantra and my mindset. But at UConn, I would have loved the opportunity to play against BC. Just didn't happen.
We didn't play BC. That's right. They were ACC.
Yeah.
That's right.
Big East.
They were one of the first schools to leave the Big East. That's right. But you were there. Was 07 your freshman year?
I graduated high school 08. So 08.
Okay, and because that's right, you left early. That's what it was. That's right.
Junior year. Yep.
Okay, so you came in. You graduated 08. Yep. The 08 season, was that the Papa John's Bowl that they went to?
My first bowl game was the International Bowl against Buffalo and Toronto.
That's the one I went to. That's what I saw you at. I had so much fun at that bowl game.
Yes.
And I loved Tyler Lorenzen. He played
Yeah.
very well.
Quarterback.
We ran the ball well, obviously, with you guys. And then I was was that Kashif Moore? Was he on that team?
Chief Moore, Donald Brown,
Yeah, D
Dre
Brown.
was also part of that team. List
Yeah,
goes on. I can name a bunch. DJ and then DJ was
yeah,
still Hernandez a part of that team. Lil
yes,
B,
yeah, yeah.
Brad
That's right.
on you, a few of us. Lloyd, Scott Lutris,
Yes, yes, yes.
Lawrence. Yeah, we had some good guys over there.
Was was
Sherman, Anthony Sherman was still part of that team as
the
well.
fullback? Yep. Was Tavon Branch on that team?
He was not. I
That was
know Tyvon Branch well, but he was not on that team. No.
okay.
Darius Butler
Yeah,
was on that team. Yes, he
yeah.
was.
Do you know D Butler?
I know very well. Yes. So we played together for the Colts. We were teammates in the Colts.
Yes, I know
And
that.
we were
Yeah,
teammates with the Huskies. And then obviously you see what he's doing with his career with Pat and those guys. I'm
yeah.
excited for him, man.
Tell Darius Butler I want him on my show.
All right.
I've been trying to get him. I've been trying to get him. But yeah, he had an incredible career. So the International Bowl I thought was great.
Yeah.
And you guys had an exceptional season. Going into 2010,
Yeah.
did you have those expectations? You had Zach Frazier transferring in from Notre Dame. Did you think that you could win the Big East and have a chance to go to the BCS Bowl?
I feel like absolutely. I feel like we came in and I think that's when we went to Papa John's Bowl. Might have been that year.
Oh, okay.
So, I had
I got
feelings.
the years mixed up.
Yeah, we came in there to go compete, make plays and ball. Coach Edsel and had a great coaching staff on board. Did a great job of recruiting and bringing talented guys around us. And I just kind of we knew the sky was the limit. Try to control your own fate. Still battling in the Big East, where there was plenty of competition that we had to see on Saturdays. But I felt confident every year that I was there.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because so you went to the Papa John's Bowl, the International Bowl, and then the Fiesta Bowl. That was the okay.
Those are my three. Yes, sir.
All right, so that's how I got it out of order. I get the International Bowl and the Papa John's Bowl out of order. So the Fiesta Bowl was 2010, 2011.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, that's what it was. So that was the year that Taggart kicked the field goal, right? That sent you.
So was that against South Florida? I forget where.
Yes, USF in the rain.
I think that was the year, or it might have been the year before. It could have been that year.
Yeah, it was that year because he got honored he was an honorary captain at one of the games I went to for doing that.
He's also a Massachusetts guy, by the way.
I know he is. I know he is. That's why I want to stick it to my head coach all the time about it because he wouldn't take Mass guys. Because I remember it was the first time I had been back to the Rent in probably 20 years. And I asked Andy Baylock, I said, all right, so when am I an honorary captain? When do you roll? When do I get to ring the bell? I want to do that. But yeah, it was such a great experience. And so it was 2010. You guys ended up, were you 8-4 that year or 9?
We might have to go. We might have to go to Google for that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you were 9-3. I think you were 9-3. But you did win the Big East, and it was the South Florida kick that knocked you through. And it was obviously West Virginia was always the tough one to go through. Pat White, Steve Slayton, they were always difficult.
Noel Devine and Pitt was it. It had Dion Lewis, Graham. Yeah. They always had talent as well. And then so it was never super easy. Some Rutgers guys, we were still battling with them. Louisville.
Yes.
So wasn't easy sailing. Yeah.
Wow, that's right. I forgot about Louisville. Yeah, that was the revamped Big East with Louisville, with South Florida. That was definitely a tough division. I was very very sad to see it go. And I know, it has more to do with money than anything. And, we ended up in the AAC. But it's like you came in like the wind and then you were gone.
It went quick.
You had such a great career. You had such a explosive, dynamic career. And, whenever I get asked about you, because I had never met you, I thought you were polarizing, because you were truly like a difference maker. And, when you and Dre both rushed for 1,000 yards in the same year, like that told the story. And that's one of the gripes that I have with our team this year at UConn. Randy always had the model, I thought, for success at the Rent, because we played on natural grass, and the weather was always tough, and the wind was always tough. So Randy always believed in running the football. He believed in being physical, tough up front. He believed in not turning the ball over, time of possession, and in field position. Win the field position battle, play tough defense. Those were his principles. And like I remember when you and Dre played, it was power, it was counter, it was nothing fancy. It was right up your ass downhill.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I loved it. And I love Coach Foley. Coach Foley,
great offensive line coach. Great. And believe it or not, he recruited me from Massachusetts. Coach Foley.
I know he did.
Yeah, so.
And he ended up being a prep school coach. I remember he left UConn. He ended up sticking for Coach P. I don't think he stuck for Diaco, but then I know he ended up coaching at a prep school. I coached with his son at Colgate when I was at Colgate.
I know he's a Colgate guy. He talks well about it.
His son's great. His son's freaking awesome. So what went into you making the decision to leave early? Because that's tough.
No, I think it is tough. So one, I was only 20 years old at the time. I didn't even turn 21 until I ran my 40 at the NFL Combine. So, like you said, I went to college for almost 2 years in one semester, and then to the NFL. So a different trip, and then especially back then. So I guess I was the Big East Offensive Player of the Year that year. I rushed for almost 1,700 yards, and I missed the game due to an elbow injury. And as I sat down with my running back coach and Coach Etzel, I remember vividly my running back coach, Terry Richardson, who's at
T-Rich. I love T-Rich.
T-Rich, who's at Akron now with Moorhead. But anyways, he was like, what else do you got to prove? You rushed for 1,700. You did all this. He felt like I had a good chance. Coach Etzel felt the same way as well. And so I took a leap of faith of, trying to make my dream come true. And God willing, I was able to get drafted and try to take care of the rest. So
you know what, Coach Etzel, he does not steer people wrong. No. So if he gave you the green light to go, then he knew. Like he knew that you were going to be fine. And I could pretty much tell by the way that you played. I mean, you ran angry. Like
hungry.
You ran through people, you ran over people, and then you had the breakaway speed. You caught the ball very well out of the backfield. And then anytime you had to pick up a blitz, you stuck your nose right in there and picked up the blitz. Like you were the complete package as a running back. So that's why I always liked you and Andre the best. I love Donald. I didn't think Donald was as physical as you guys were, but I know that he also rushed for 2,000 yards. I think you're close to it. But so you did you initially go to the Colts?
No, I was drafted to the San Diego Chargers first.
Chargers.
Yep.
Okay.
I was drafted to the Chargers. Made the 53-man roster. Did well there. Did okay. I had surgery on my thumb here about week 4 of the season. My rookie year in the NFL. We had some multiple injuries. So then the way it works, 53-man roster, 48 dress. So you got to get people moved up. So we had to almost put me on practice squad, but because injury reserve, but they paid me active, so it didn't change anything.
So they just kept you inactive.
Yeah, it didn't change anything. Yeah, it didn't change anything. So I was still there. And to be honest, being so young, right? I just turned 21.
I know.
A month before I'm in the NFL, you're learning and understanding the business aspect of it, and you still having confidence and understanding. You're hungry, and you believe in yourself, and you can play. It's now trying to get those guys to understand this rookie who's 21 years old. He feels like he can make an impact, for us, even coming off an injury. So I would say I was eager. I was eager to get on the field and truly do what I love, and from the beginning. Yeah.
Who was your head coach there at the time?
Norv Turner. Norv Turner was our head coach. The running backfield was me, Ryan Matthews, Jacob Hester from LSU, Michael Tolbert.
Wow.
So those were the guys that put me under their wing my rookie year in the NFL.
So they definitely tried to mentor you and guide you, and they weren't. They saw you as competition, but they wanted the best out of you because they knew you could help the team.
You know how it works when you're a rookie or a freshman. You're coming in. The older guys can kind of either gel with you, they can mentor you, and you get that mess. And if they mess with you a little, it's probably because they like you. So
yes.
So exactly. Don't take it as bullying or any mean or anything like that. It's all good love.
They only mess with the guys they like. You're absolutely right. They don't talk to you. They don't like you.
Exactly.
So how many years did you end up spending in San Diego?
That was just my first year. So my first year, I was there, but this is what happened. The Vikings called me. Adrian Peterson just tore his ACL, MCL. They weren't expecting him to come back after that. So there was probably one game left in the season, maybe 2 games left. And the Vikings called me from the Chargers, who drafted me to get me to go there. And like I said, being so hungry and eager and not taking in the information and so much knowledge of the business, I jumped at the first opportunity I can get on the field. I said, Adrian Peterson's out, 8 injuries. I'm like, here I go. Here's my chance. At 21 years old, I left beautiful San Diego to go to Eden Prairie, Minnesota. So those are all my decisions, my choice. Yeah.
So they didn't have to trade for you. You were
no. Yes, because I was on practice squad getting paid active, so I really didn't have to leave San Diego at all. There was nothing truly.
Holding you there.
Nothing truly, making me go there. There wasn't truly. The only change was to play now, and that was the only thing on my mind. I just came off, a thumb surgery. I just wanted to play football, and so I took the leap of faith to go there.
And did you like Minnesota?
I did like Minnesota. Rick Spielman was the GM at the time.
The GM, yes.
Les Frazier was there. Adrian Peterson in the room. So Jamal Felton, list goes on. So plenty of people to just learn from and just be around, right? Train with. And so I made that decision to go there. Jared Allen was still on the team, and
because was that after Favre left?
No, this is before 5. Our quarterback was from Florida State, Christian Ponder. Kyle Rudolph.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that.
Percy Harvin was also on that team.
Yes, that's right. That was before he went to Seattle. Yes, I do remember that team. They, you guys had a dominant defense, a dominant run game. And I remember in the passing game, there was like a little deficiency there. And that's kind of what held you back from going further. How many years did you end up spending in Minnesota?
Hold on, check this. I'm glad you got time because it's story time. All right. So I get into Minnesota. So imagine I told you I got there with the last 2 games in the year. They finished. Yeah. We didn't make the playoffs, so I had to come back. OTAs, had a good OTAs, had a good season. We get to full first day of pads, and we're in Mankato because that's where they hold their camp. So I'm playing running back for the Vikings. It's like a live period, like goal line, like red zone situation. I get the ball and I'm going to score, and I get tackled. And Everson Griffin, the DN from USC, who also played, maybe 9 years in the league. Anyways, he rolls me up. I get a high ankle sprain. So I'm stressed out, right? I just came off a thumb injury and surgery. I got a high ankle sprain. I understand when you're a 6th-round pick or any dog, you need special teams, and you also need preseason because that's how you build your resume. That's how you get to showcase your skill and your ability. So with the high ankle sprain, I missed the first 3 preseason games. And mind you, I'm watching people getting cut left and right. And I'm now in the back of my mind, I'm like, I haven't played in weeks. I have a high ankle sprain. I got to be next. So I'm like, I understand that this is the last preseason game coming up. I got to go. I got to go. Tape up my ankle. I go out there. I don't think I got into the game until like late second quarter, maybe third quarter. And I rushed like 140 yards. I had a 76-yard touchdown run against the Houston Texans, and they kept me and paid me double practice squad. So,
oh my God, good for you.
That's how I made it there. So
that is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Well, because I've had high ankle sprains probably 3 or 4 times, and they never freaking heal.
No, they linger.
They take forever, and you literally like have to you have to stay off your feet for like weeks or a month for it to actually heal. So football is the worst thing for it because you're constantly pounding on it, and then you got to get treatment, and you got to ice it. You got to. It is the most annoying injury in the world to deal with because I used to have to see Bob Howard at 6 a.m.
Yes.
And I'd be like, Bob, I'm not talking. I don't want to talk today. Can I just go soak in the hot tub, please?
Yeah.
No, you have to do your stretches and your work. I'm like, God damn it. All right, fine, whatever. But yeah, I had plenty of them. So you made the roster that year on one season game. That's a hell of a performance.
So I'm there, and actually, so I'm on practice squad, but they pay me double, so I'm not getting paid every day. So I'm on there.
Yeah, you were getting paid.
I only got that one preseason game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you get activated during that year?
It gets better. I think week 3 or 4, the Jaguars come and get me. That's what happened. So I leave Minnesota and I go play 3 years for the Jaguars.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You went down to Jacksonville. I was trying to think. Was that like 2015, 2016?
About that. About say 2013. One season, San Diego. About I'd say almost 2013 to about 2016. Yeah.
Okay. And did you like Jayville?
I loved it. I loved it so much. I built a house right outside there in St. Augustine. So
that's what she said. Yeah.
So I loved it. I think if I'm going to be completely honest, Jacksonville was the first team that like gave me a first like true opportunity to excel and do that, and probably had a more success there, right? On special teams, carrying the ball, playing running back, and kind of carving out a role or a name for myself.
Yeah. Who was Blake? No, I was. Who was your quarterback at the time?
So I had Blake Bortles, I had Chad Henne, and Blaine Gabbert. So Blaine Gabbert was drafted there. So Blaine Gabbert first, Chad Henne, and then Boyles.
That's right. Because Blaine didn't exactly pan out like they hoped. They went to Henne, and then they drafted Bortles. I remember again. You weren't. Were you on the team that made it to the AFC Championship? That lost. Okay, that was after you.
That time, yep.
Okay, so after Jacksonville, is that when you ended up in Indianapolis?
believe. Nope. I went to Carolina Panthers.
Panthers. Okay.
Yeah, I was in camp.
Jesus.
So I was in camp with the Panthers. So I was at the end of my contract. I didn't get renewed in Jacksonville.
Right.
So I went to the Carolina Panthers. Great staff. Ron Vieira was still there. Jericho Cotry, who's now my head coach there, was on the squad as well. Cam Newton, Jonathan Stewart, and those kind of guys. So I went there, had a set, Luke Kuechly, all those guys, right? TD went there, had a great camp, balled out, and then in one of those preseason games, we played against the Pittsburgh Steelers. In my first carry of the game, my first time touching the ball, scored like a 60-yard touchdown against the Steelers untouched. And the next week is the last week of preseason. So I'm like, I balled. There's no question I made this team. Like I've stood out all preseason, all camp, all OTAs. And I get a call in the office to pretty much get cut from Carolina. Hey, it gets better. Before I get home, I would say 3 hours after they found out, Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin called me and I signed me for the whole year. So I made their 53-man roster and played for them. So I know I see your face, so I just want to.
No, I knew your career. I didn't know that you bounced around that much. I knew some of the teams that you had been on. I had no idea about Carolina. Yeah. I had no idea about Pittsburgh. I knew about Indy, but that's why I'm like, wow, holy crap! Because, like, I played. I played in NFL Europe. Yep. I went to some camps. I never made a roster or anything. I had preseason games I played in, but I would get a call and, hey, you're going to play in NFL Europe, and I'd pack my bags and I'm going to Germany. I'd get a call and I'm going to Canada. I'm playing in the CFL. So I know the lifestyle is like, you never know when your number's going to get called or what could happen. And it's like one day, I get a call and the Steelers, they want me, they sign me, and I'm there for the season. Like that's how quickly it can happen. Like that's the business.
Just like that.
That's crazy. So you spent a year in Pittsburgh with Roethlisberger, Tomlin. I mean, they were just that franchise is first class all the way.
Absolutely.
Did you like your time there?
I did like my time there. Like you said, mentioned I played with some great players. I played 7 years in the NFL, and playing with the Steelers was the first and the only season I ever made it to the playoffs, right? So I had a good time there. Got a chance to play late in this. Le'Veon got hurt, so I pretty much started the playoff game against the Denver Broncos. I had a good game against the Cincinnati Bengals. The game that AB got knocked out, I don't know if you recall it, and then Perfect and Pac-Man got into a little scuffle. So that was my first playoff game ever, that Cincinnati game. And
that's right. You were with Le'Veon Bell. Holy crap.
D'Angelo Williams, Le'Veon Bell, and then so they got injured. So I think I was the leading rusher of that Cincinnati game.
That's unbelievable. Le'Veon Bell and AB. Yeah. AB, you were around him in a professional manner, but did you ever see him? Like, did you think he was a little off or?
I knew, first of all, I'm going to be honest because this is who I am, right? So what people don't understand about AB is he's an extremely hard worker and obviously a great athlete, is what you guys know. Yes. So being different, sometimes it's okay to be different. But
it is,
it's okay to be different, but safe to say he was unique. And obviously the things that he can do on the field was special. And he wanted to win and he wanted to compete. But other than that, I got nothing bad to say about him. Been around him.
You're being very diplomatic. That's smart
as well. But he's a great player. Yeah, I feel like some of the great ones are a little different, right?
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. The smartest people in the world are a little different. So
right?
There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, and then you ended up. Was your last stop Indianapolis?
No, sir.
Okay.
So I went to Indianapolis from Steelers after that playoff season. Made the team, did well. I had a kick return touchdown against the Green Bay Packers. Did that. Carried the ball. Played with Frank Gore, Andrew Luck, and those guys in the backfield over there, and T.Y. Hilton. And so we had a great. I feel like we did well there. And I took advantage of every opportunity I could when I was there. And then, yep. And then I guess two more. I got two more teams.
I see, man. Okay, so I must have lost track after Indy. So where did you go after it? So were you signing like 1 year deals and then or
pretty
2
much.
years?
I was pretty much signing 1 year deals type things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I almost became a journeyman. So in Indianapolis, went there, balled, thought I was going to get re-signed there. I would assumed. I didn't. After that season, I got a really unique story. After that season, the New York Jets called me. So the Jets called me to go sign with them. All right. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So the Jets called me to go sign with them. I'm with the Jets. I'm in camp. I'm practicing. I'm doing all the ordeal. I'm now going on like my 6th year in the NFL, maybe 7th, my 6th year in the NFL. And then this one was actually the funniest one ever. So probably the week before the last preseason game, okay? And I'm at the Jets. My family come up and visit a little bit. We're still in camp. So I get called that I'm going to get cut from the Jets, okay? So
of course.
Now this is a true story. So now in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, this is, year 7, I'm going on year 7, year 6 in the league. I'm like, it was a blessing. I'm like, all right. So I'm honestly starting, continue to think about life after football, what may entail and come up next. So I get on the plane and I'm driving back to Duval, Jacksonville, and my wife and kids are gonna come get me at the airport. So I land in Jacksonville and my phone goes off and it's my agent. He goes, "Hey, are you still at the airport?" I said, "Yeah, I haven't got off the plane." He said, "Stay there.
Stay on it."
The Houston Texans are flying you to Indianapolis, to New Orleans. They got a preseason game in 3 days. This is when they had the hurricane in Houston, so they couldn't stay there. We got a preseason game in 3 days. You have to come learn the playbook in 3 days and come play against the New Orleans Saints. So call my wife. I tell her what happens. This is a true story. She's not my wife at the time, but she is now.
Yeah.
She picks me up from arrivals just to go around in a circle to drop me off. Kissed her, gave her a kiss, and I went to work, man. So that's the journey, the lifestyle.
Man, boy, that's really living it. That's really living it. And you have another stop, apparently.
No. I think to say all that goes on to this, and it's naturally to the sayings that I say to recruits or players that I live by. Men lie, women lie, but that film don't lie. What you put on tape,
you're right.
What you put on tape is your resume, right? So if you constantly put out good tape and good resume, you'll constantly have a good job or a good opportunity. So I think the only way that you get 7 years in the NFL with multiple teams is because you're doing what you're supposed to do with those other teams. So I took that knowing that this is the NFL, the best of the best. They can find players anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they're choosing you, it's not on an accident. It's because you're doing something you're supposed to be doing, if that makes sense. So.
No, you definitely did what you were supposed to be doing. And the other thing that stands out to me is you made them, like, you didn't piss and moan. You made the most out of every opportunity you were given. Like, you were grateful and you knew in that moment, like, I got to put it on film. This is my chance to shine. This moment can define the rest of my career. It could either keep it going or it could end it. So you always made plays. You always were a difference maker and you always stood out. And I think that's why you kept getting those calls and you kept getting brought in.
Yes, sir. And I think it starts off with a mindset, right? Are you a true dog? Are you a true football player? Dog. A lot of us come from being All-Americans and having these stats and records at our college, but never played special teams, like myself.
Correct.
I never ran off. I didn't have to play gunner, but I knew once I got to the NFL, the numbers have completely changed, right? There's only 48 dress, okay? So you can't be a one-trick pony. The more you bring to the table, the better off you are. And if you sat down and you were inactive for any game or 2 games, if you're okay with that, you're different than me. I'm not okay with being inactive. I'm not okay with watching the game. I'm not a spectator, right? So I knew to raise my value and just being just never too good for a situation. And so I literally took advantage of those opportunities and became a special teams guy, a gadget guy, running back guy. But I didn't moan. I showed up to work and I gave it everything I had.
No, I love that. Like, you have a very, very positive attitude and you have a great philosophy on not only football, but a philosophy on life.
Mm.
And I think it's remarkable that you're working with the younger generation because they need to hear that. And you're someone who will always steer them in the right direction, which I think is huge. And you've been at Limestone, did you say 3 years now?
Yeah, this will be my third season. We just ended my third season here at Limestone. But in between these 3 seasons, I've had great opportunities to coach and work with other organizations and teams, which have been great for me through this journey. I got a chance to do the Bill Walsh. I coached for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2 months, worked with the running backs, traveled, went to all their preseason games, worked with ETN and Hank Bigsby and the kickoff return as well.
Okay. Oh, right. You got. I know they have those
Bill Walsh
coaches.
Yep.
Where you going? Wow.
And then last year I worked with the Minnesota Vikings with Kevin O'Connell and his staff, the running backs, special teams. So constantly just being a student of the game, learning more about it, and having ways to just impact players and just the game, right? The knowledge, the love of it, and passing it on.
Do you at Limestone, are you involved with the run game, like the run game coordinator? Okay. Because I think you know it.
So we work together, put together the run game. You know how it is when you're game planning, go through the 3-by-1, 2-by-2, figuring it out, inside zone, short yardage, big schedule, red zone. So yes, our run game, work with the run game, putting it together, and then I've had successful running backs every year that I've been here, and we've been rolling, to be honest. So.
I could see that. Now I know that you had success at UConn running more gap schemes with power counter. Do you like zone, inside zone, outside zone? Are you a zone guy or no?
I do like zone. I love power, love the gap scheme. I love counter as well. I'm more of a situational guy, right? How many guys they got on the box? What are our angles? Yeah. What do our angles look like? You know what I'm saying? And then where's that double team coming from? I feel like that's the strength and the power of a lot of these runs when we get in there. And then who are we pulling for? Are they DN slicing? Are they spilling it? Are they playing up field? So I like to analyze the whole situation and just put our team in situations to be successful.
Yeah, that's exactly how I am. Formationally, what gives you the best look? What gives you the best numbers?
Angles,
the angles, and that you can figure out what scheme you want to run off of that. But that's most important. Just quickly, like what has been your take on the UConn season this year?
I think it's good. So I'm happy for them, proud of them being an alumni there. Any opportunity that they get to go to the bowl game or be bowl eligible, I feel like it steps in the right direction. But as you know, I'm super busy on Saturdays as well. So I don't get to watch them as much as I want to. But if they're going bowl games, and I believe, were they 7-3 correct right now? What is their record?
7-3, yeah, 7-3.
So to me, I think that's a step in the right direction. We've seen in the past we didn't have that same type of success as of lately. So when you get to 7-3, I think it's
first
changing.
Time since 2010 since you played.
See, so they're getting back. Yeah, so Jim Moore and his staff is working their butt off, along with the Burton family as well, as you mentioned earlier, working their butt off to put UConn.
Mike's doing a good job.
That's putting to put UConn in the best situation to win. So I'm happy to see them get here and see what's in store.
Yeah, and I'm going to the game tomorrow because I'm in upstate New York and they're playing Syracuse. So
you're right there.
It's going to be interesting to see. I hope they they match up with them. I hope they bring it. And I hope they do well. Yes. Because even finishing 8-4, but if they can finish 9-3 and basketball takes care of itself, then I think we have a chance to get into one of the Power 4, Power 5 conferences, make that money, and the rest will take care of itself. Because economically, it's just a battle without, this is the first year television money is going to be included. Schools can pay kids from their TV money, and it's capped at like 20 million. So I think that's crucial for UConn to get in there. Hopefully, I mean, even if it is a Big 12, logistically, yeah, it's going to be a nightmare. But the Big 12, ACC, it doesn't really matter. They got to go somewhere, and we have the pedigree. Jordan, when I went to campus, it was unrecognizable to me just to see the facilities that we have, the basketball facility, the volleyball facility, the hockey facility. It's like, what the hell happened when it's like I fell asleep for 20 years and come back and like, I don't know where I am. It's like Back to the Future. I was just blown away by it.
I believe it.
But I really appreciate you taking the time to come on Husky Talk. The biggest thing, we're trying to do is build alumni engagement, and I'm working with Mike Burton. I'm trying to help him raise money for the C Club. I mean, raise money for the Bleeding Blue for Good. So that's why it's www.bleedingblueforgood.org if you want to donate. And then I'm trying to help Phil Hunt, Kevin Freeman with the C Club. They got to get more alumni to join the C Club. So that's the purpose of the Husky Talk podcast and some of the other stuff that I've been doing. We're really trying to promote UConn because they're not getting enough coverage, even locally, from the Current, from the Post, from the Register, on TV. So we provide, myself and my partner David Schumann, we provide another outlet to cover UConn. We do Husky Huddle, where we cover, preview each game and then recap the game before. And now we just started Husky Hoops. We'll be covering the men's basketball team, and I have a show that covers the women's basketball team. So I do a lot of podcasts, but it was paramount to have you on. Now that I had Andre on and you on back-to-back weeks, I can die a happy man. I can die a happy man. And if you can get Darius Butler to respond to me, I would love to have Darius Butler on as well.
Great dude.
Because I don't know guys from your class, because you were ahead of me, so I don't have the connections to your group. That's what's been limiting. But anyone of your teammates that you talk to that you think would love to come on the show, we'd love to have them. And obviously promote everything they're doing and everything that they've done for the university. So again, I thank you. Jordan Todman, now at Limestone University, Division II, finished 8-3. They have turned the program around. Jericho Cotchery is the head coach, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
He's the head coach. They got a great staff there, and they're going to be doing great things. I'm so happy that you are coaching. I did it for 10 years, and it's very rewarding because you are making a difference in kids' lives at such a pivotal time, and you're a role model to them and a mentor to them. And a lot of them don't have it. So I always took it seriously, and I loved my kids. Yeah. And I would do stuff with my kids outside of football. Like I was a big WWE wrestling fan. Yeah. So I would have my O lineman. I'd have them over to my girlfriend's house, and we'd watch the WWE pay-per-views. Now they thought I was nuts, but I gave them food, and they could eat and drink and have fun. So they would come mostly because of that. But again, thank you. I know you're going to be going on the recruiting trail probably soon, and I wish you all the best. And now that I have your number, I'll probably harass you and just check in on you every now and then. And that's what we got to do as Huskies. We got to stay together, stay in touch. So Jordan Todman, Limestone College, Limestone University, running back coach, running game coordinator, doing a fantastic job. UConn football legend, played 7 years in the NFL. Thrilled we had him on Husky Talk. This is going to be a big one. I expect this episode to go through the roof. All I ask is that you share it with your people. I'll put you on, it'll be on all the social media platforms. And then our YouTube channel has 1 million subscribers. So
Okay.
you're going to be seen by a lot. So I really want to put over Limestone University. If you have a recruiting um, website page that
Yes.
I can list the link in the show notes.
That'd be
So
perfect.
I think that'll help, get you some recruits, because it'll get out there and
That's good.
get some kids there. But again, thank you. So
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
for Jordan Todman, I am Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. This has been Husky Talk. Again, thank you, Procyon Partners, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm. If you've been arrested, personal injury, if you've been bitten by a dog, whatever, call Pete. Pete will take care of you. And then obviously, Bleeding Blue for Good. Help Mike Burton. Go to www.bleedingblueforgood.org. Donate. Couple $100. We just need more people to donate. We have strength in numbers with our alumni, and that will make the difference. So again, remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and